Wonderful. Good morning, friends, and welcome to the Spirit Society of Virginia. We are going to start today by reading a message psychographed by Chico Xavier by the Spirit Emmanuel. Spiritual remuneration. The hard worker farmer should be the first to partake of the fruits. In addition to the coined salary, work is invariably followed by its respective spiritual remuneration, of which we highlight some of the most significant items. Work turns on the light of experience. Work teaches us to know the difficulties and problems of others, inducing us, for the very reason, to respect them. Work promotes self-education. Work develops creativity and the notion of the value of time. Work immunizes against the dangers of adventure and boredom. Work establishes appreciation in our circle of action. Work expands understanding. Work expands the field of our affective relationships. Work attracts sympathy and collaboration. Work extinguishes little by little the inferior tendencies that we will bring from past experiences. However, when work transforms itself into the pleasure of serving, at this point, the most important aspect of spiritual remuneration comes about. Every time that divine justice looks for us at the exact address for the execution of the sentences that we have drawn against ourselves, according to the laws of cause and effect, if it finds us in service to others, it requires divine mercy that the execution be suspended indefinitely. And when our indispensable contact with the mechanisms of earthly justice occurs, that is when the influence of all those whom perhaps we have provided some benefit appears in our aid. Since such companions spontaneously convert themselves into natural lawyers of our cause, mitigating the penalties in which we have incurred or fully suppressing them if we have redeemed in love that we own in trial of suffering. Wow. For the rectification and tranquility in ourselves. Let us reflect on this and conclude that working and serving, whatever we are, will always be our constant support and promotion towards the better life.
Wow.
Too subtle for me.
Wow. That's our prayer. Wow. Thank you, Tony. So, friends, let us together pray, feeling the presence of God. It's so important to have God in our lives. God is always with us, and it's up to us to recognize God. If we do, better for us. Let us feel the loving care of God because we're breathing. Breathing in, we acknowledge you, God. Breathing out, we thank you for life, for bringing us together, for the loving presence of the Spirit guides, of the Spirit Society of Virginia, who love all of us unconditionally. In your name, who care for us so deeply that they want us to progress. Surely, we visualize the energy medicine of your love permeating ourselves, bringing us deep calm, the envelopment of your embrace. And we visualize that the spirit doctors are also attending to the ones who have their names in the book of prayer, who are connected to us in some way and form in two realms. We breathe in life and we exhale gratitude today and forever. With your guidance, dear Lord, and your protection, with your permission, we open ourselves to our therapeutic educational session today. And so be it. All right, today's special day because we're going to have the same lesson here and there with the children and the kids and the teens. It's going to be the same. So we have more conversations at home. Huh? Right? All right. So Paloma, Daisy, and Carol will lead the sessions with the children and the teens. For the parents, if you want to go inside with the babies and toddlers in your room, you can. Now or later, it's up to you. Okay? We are all going to have the same lesson here and there. Of course, here we'll go deeper in so many ways. But it's all about inner empowerment. You and I, all of us, are created to progress. It's a divine law. We have to progress. When we are in the comfort zone, it's a sign we are stagnant. When life is so nice and easy, it's a sign we're not progressing. Go to the gym and ask any personal trainer. If you do the same exercise every day, they're going to say you're not progressing. But if every day you go home and you feel the pain here and there, it's a sign you are working new muscles. We reincarnate to do two things in the Spirit's book says. To redress previous life mistakes. Do we have any doubt that in previous lives, I'm talking about this life, huh? Just previous lives. This life we didn't make a mistake. But in previous lives, who didn't make a mistake? Who is going to dare say, no, I've never done anything wrong? And what happens? It is there and done? No, it's an unfinished business. We need to redress. We're going to encounter the people that we need to reconcile. If we push that muscle, it may be achy and sore, but it's going to make us stronger. And also to learn the new as well. It's not all about karma. Some pains, go to the book Action and Reaction by Andrea Lewis. 3 types of pain. There is a type of suffering that is all about previous lives. We call pain expiation. Yes, it's hard because we didn't get along, now we need to get along. We didn't want to study, now we need to study. We didn't want to work, now we need to work. But there are people who dream of retirement, right? And I think it's so beautiful when life says, you're not going to retire. No, but I planned my whole life. And I bought the house and I did this. But life's not going to let you retire. You know why? Because if you do, you're going to create more karma. And then suddenly all the money you had disappears. All the plans you made change. It's God saying, I'm not going to let you fail again. You go and work. Go be useful till the last minute of your life. There are people I've met, spiritists. I have at least 3 cases, more than 3, but 3 cases that I've seen with my eyes, who said, when I retire, I'm going to work more for spiritism. The person retired. A year later, they're diagnosed with cancer, they died. Mm-hmm. Another case, somebody said, oh, when I retire next year, I was living in Baltimore. This person came and said, next year when I retire, you think I'm going to work to help people all the time, all day long, and do what Chico Xavier did? No, I'm going to travel. I'm going to do what I couldn't do because of my busy life. The next year, this person travels and has a stroke in the plane. Survived. Now he's working twice because he has to work to get back to his body and the work he used to do. So, the third case, the person died. Said, one day, when life is better, my children are older. No time. So, the laws of progress, if we're planning retirement, better change your plans. We need to plan on working and being more useful, because that's life. Not that we're going to do the same work till the end of our lives. Vanessa, but can't I stop my professional work and do something else? Yes, but you plan a life of being useful and not a life of rest, because rest assured, we're the last people on this earth, the people who are inhabiting now, who are living on the earth before the planet turns into regeneration. There is no more time for the same old. We need to open ourselves to the new. And how can we do this? Kardec asked in the Spirit's Book, question 990, can we secure progress and avoid the stagnation in evil? And the answer of the Spirits is clear, self-knowledge. And that's why we think we deserve retirement, because we don't remember what we've done. We think, oh, I worked so hard. And God said, in your files, they don't look like it at all. So we need to look at the files of our lives. In the spiritual realm, they have folders with everything we've done. André Luiz talks about it, Humberto de Campos, and many other spirits, Chico Xavier. They talk about how they have line by line, minute by minute, everything we've done in all lives. And it's recorded also in our mental body, connected to the spiritual body. So how can we feel we're entitled to receiving something we haven't conquered yet? And these records, if we look through, what are the problems in them? It talks about the quality of our relationships. When we go to the spiritual realm, it's not about the profession we've done. It's not about promotions we've got, homes we bought, lands we owned, assets, influence. It's about what we've done with everything in relationships with God, relationships with ourselves, and relationships with one another. So to really be in the steady move to progress, we needed to be more socially intelligent. Emotional intelligence is a part of social intelligence. We need to master relationships, like the master of all masters. That's why we need to read the books about Jesus. And if you have watched the series Chosen, watch it time and again to see the first 3 seasons were very faithful to how they portray Jesus in the whole body language. When we read the Spiritist books, Good News, 2,000 years ago, Jesus in the Home, we see how coherent that series is. A Jesus that is not manipulating, dominating, is not putting anybody against one another. On the contrary, who loves children, loves the elderly, loves the sick and the poor and the rich and everybody. And who is very, very attentive to relation, putting a bigger plan, the task before relationships. Relationships are more important. And why did we fail in previous lives? Because we wanted money in spite of relationships. We wanted position in spite of relationships. We wanted fame in spite of relationships. We wanted power and authority in spite of relationships. So we killed, betrayed, cheated, lied. Now it's time to put relationships first. First. How do we do it? It always begins in the family. If we want to progress, make a family. Or dedicate to the universal family. Not once a week, every day. Because when you have a family, it's a daily thing. There's no sleep. There's no waking up by yourself. Oh, I can do anything I want, whenever I want. No, you can't sleep when you want. You can't do everything the way you want. Great, because you have a family. Great way to prioritize relationships. Have a family. Find a way. It doesn't need to be the traditional way. In any way, make a family. Divaldo Franco didn't marry. He volunteered his life to adopt not only one, more than 600 children. And he's committed to date. He's 96 and is still working for the universal family. Chico Xavier decided not to get married, but he married humanity, like Jesus did. So, either dedicating to the family for real, huh? Not like raising bodies, because there are parents who raise bodies. I give them food, send them to school, don't love, don't talk, only punish, and destroy the self-esteem of the child. They learn to lie because they don't feel you're going to understand and love them if they say the truth. When parents come to us therapists and say, my children have a problem, you bet the parents. But what if they're spirits? Yes, but we're not educating them well. Because if we did, we wouldn't see those things. So we need to fix ourselves. First and foremost. But we all know that our current society is washing their hands. Somebody else is going to raise our kids, but us. Right? Teachers know. Teachers know. They see it every day. Teachers are farther and farther away from parents, and parents say, yeah, they have to be independent. They will be, rest assured. But right now, they need to depend on us. They need, because we need to do our share. We asked to have those children. God allowed them to be with us, trusting that we could do our best. So family is the best way to learn relationships with ourselves, the boundaries. Yes, we must have boundaries too. Relationship with God, Oh God, please help me. I don't know how to do this. Relationship with the people we encounter begins in the family. So let's talk about where the problems may be solved or reinforced. Childhood, where we are supposed to establish a secure attachment. Spiritism tells us that parents, just go to the book Thought in Life, the chapter that's titled Children. In the parents, the children will find an expression of God. How are they going to love God if they don't love us? If we don't love them? In us, they will find that security that later will be translated into the love for God. But that's where many people fail. We need to talk about it, because if our parents failed us, actually they failed themselves, we can change it. Psychology tells us that to have a healthy life in our relationships, we need to develop a secure attachment. What is it? So let's see. Secure attachment in childhood is the healthiest form of attachment. Okay, pause. I know you want to read more. Let's pause. Secure attachment. Healthy way. We have this philosophy here, my baby is so independent. I've heard this when Virginia was little. I was like, I can't believe these people. As a psychologist, I said, these people are crazy. Because babies are never independent. No, but they sleep through the night. No, that doesn't mean independence. That doesn't mean they are better than the babies who are waking up every 3 hours to be fed, to be secured. It's a fallacy. And when we push our children to precocious independence, psychology tells us that we need to form secure attachments to be healthy. So pushing babies and children to be independent is going to be a tragedy. We don't push, because in nature, you don't open a flower at the wrong time. You destroy the flower. You don't push babies to be independent when they have to depend on us. Children are supposed to depend on us. Teens are supposed to depend on us. Young adults are supposed to become independent. But if they form secure attachment, what happens to them? An attachment where a child feels comforted by the presence of their caregiver. Securely attached children feel protected and that they have someone to rely on. But what do we do as parents? They cry. We say, I changed the diaper, gave them food. It's just a whim. They are learning. This is psychology, not me. They are learning. The world is not giving me what I need. Way before we are 1 year of age. This attachment needs to be formed in the first months of life. And then we take our babies, put in an infant care. People who were not assigned by God to care for our children, by the way. And then we put them in an infant care. Our babysitter is going to take care of our children by themselves, without our supervision. It's okay to have a babysitter when you're nearby, securing that what the child needs is going to be in place. But what do? We create a system that is not forming the secure attachment. In the first less than 3 years of life, we define this attachment. So let me show to you in a short clip the whole story about secure and non-secure attachment and how it affects us in the long run. Let me just make sure that I am sharing the audio too. Sorry. Let me share the audio Make sure. This is so important for us to what we're going to learn later, how to empower ourselves. It's a short clip explaining to us so much. Just take it out. Oh, okay, hold on. Okay, hold on. All right. Thank you, Carlos.
The attention theory argues that a strong emotional and physical bond with one primary caregiver in our first years of life is critical to our development. If our bonding is strong and we are securely attached, then we feel safe to explore the world. We know that there is always that safe place which we can return to any time. If our bond is weak, we feel insecurely attached. We are afraid to leave or explore a rather scary-looking world because we are not sure if we can return. People who are securely attached are said to have greater trust, can connect to others, and as a result are more successful in life. Insecurely attached people tend to mistrust others, lack social skills, and have problems forming relationships. There is one type of secure attachment, and there are 3 types of insecure attachments: anxious ambivalent, anxious avoidant, and anxious disorganized. In responses to distress, the first 3 react organized, while the last acts disorganized. To understand the theory better, let's look at Mr. and Mrs. Smith, who have 4 children: Luca, Anne, Joe, and Amy. The Smiths are lovely parents who cuddle, make frequent eye contact, speak warmly, and are always there for their kids. But one day, Mr. Smith falls very sick and dies. For Mrs. Smith, life now becomes very difficult. She spends all day working, while at the same time trying to care for her children. An impossible task. At 6 years of age, Luca's brain is for the most part developed, his character strong and his worldview shaped. The new situation does not affect him much. He knows there is still always Mum, his safe haven. He feels securely attached. Later, he turns into a trusting and optimistic young man. His self-image is positive. Anne, who is 3, has problems coping with the new lack of attention. To Anne, her mother now acts unpredictably. She is anxious about their relationship, and as a result becomes clingy. To get her mum's attention, she has to raise her emotional state and scream. When her mum finally reacts with a predictable response, she herself acts ambivalent and doesn't show her true feelings. Later in life, others think Anne is unpredictable or moody. Her self-image is less positive. Her attachment style is anxious ambivalent. 2-year-old Joe spends his days with his uncle, who loves him, but thinks that a good education means being strict. If little Joe shows too much emotion or is too loud, his uncle gets angry and sometimes punitive. This scares Joe. He learns that to avoid fear, he has to avoid showing his feelings, also in other situations. As an adult, he continues this strategy and has problems entering relationships. His image of himself is rather negative. His attachment is anxious avoidant. Amy, who is just 1 year old, gets sent to a nursery. The staff there is poorly trained, overworked, and often very stressed. Some are outright abusive. Amy therefore becomes anxious of the very people she seeks security from, a conflict which totally disorganizes her ideas about love and safety. As she is experiencing fear without resolution, she tries to avoid all social situations. As an adult, she thinks of herself as unworthy of love. Her self-image is very negative. Her attachment is anxious, disorganized. Our attachment is formed in the very first years of our lives, a time when we are too young to communicate our anxiety, and as a result, can experience high levels of stress. Then our adrenal gland, the module sitting on top of our kidneys, produces the stress hormones adrenaline and cortisol. The heart rate increases, the blood pressure goes up, and we become alert. If that happens frequently, it is called toxic stress. Toxic because it impairs the development of a child's brain and weakens the immune system. In embryos or at a very young age, toxic stress can even switch the expressions of genes, which can affect our health many decades later. By simulating a strange situation, we can assess an attachment style already by the age of 1. To do this, we let the child play with their mother for a few minutes inside a room. Then the child is left alone. The key moment is the child's reaction when their mother returns. Securely attached children first usually hug their mother, then can calm down and eventually get back to playing. Insecurely attached children can be ambivalent and avoidant. Some can't stop crying or refuse to continue playing. The long-term effects of our attachment in the early years are well documented. Using a theory, researchers at Minnesota University were able to predict already at age 3 if a child would drop out of high school with 77% accuracy. In another study, undergraduates at Harvard were asked to assess how close they felt to their parents. 35 years later, they were asked about their health. 91% of those who said they had a rather broken relationship with their mother were also diagnosed with health issues, including coronary artery disease, hypertension, and alcoholism. For those that had reported a warm relationship, the figure of poor health diagnosis was just 45%. But there is another reason why the early years deserve special attention. They are the starting place for subsequent behaviors. A kid that feels securely attached at age 2 can make friends at kindergarten. Their worldview gets reinforced with every interaction, and they develop optimism. As a result, they make good relationships at school, then at college, and later at work. Highly insecurely attached children can miss out on this opportunity. Psychologist John Bowlby, a pioneer in attachment theory, allegedly said, "What cannot be communicated to the mother cannot be communicated to the self." In other words, those who feel insecurely attached might not quite understand themselves. To get to know who they are and what they feel, they might have to go way back in time.
This is just a teaser for us. And if you want to know more, there is a test that is done by Harvard Group. You can go to this link, quiz.attachmentproject.com, and take your online test to know where you are. The good news is that no matter where we've been, and I change my style, oh, I can go back. Do you want to take a picture? Go back. Take a picture. Yeah. Yeah, take a picture. It's very interesting, and they give a very solid explanation. And this can solve many problems in our lives. I know there are previous lives, and I can see how a child behaves in certain way with parents and parents with the child because of previous lives as well. Psychology doesn't explain that, but spiritism goes back then. But it's very important for parents to know how important they are in their children's life. As a physician told me once when I was pregnant, "Vanessa, Virginia is your most important project in this life." And I agree. Why? Not that she's more important than anyone, but in my life, God entrusted this one life that I am responsible for. Nobody else. Carlos and I, of course. So the science, And anything else cannot be more important than caring for a child. But in our childhood, how was it? We need to know. How was it when our parents got pregnant of us? Do you know the story? How was it when they had us? How was life? Because that is affecting us to date. And we cannot blame them because we're spirits and we know we had what we needed, but we needed to identify that there is a way to change the style. How? This is Harvard study saying we need psychotherapy. Oh, but can I change on my own? No. If it were that easy, no, you can't. If you have diabetes, you need to see a doctor. You need to prescribe a medication. If you have any problem physically, you need a physician. If you have any problem mentally, you need a therapist. The therapist that will go there, and it's the only way to change the attachment. We can change if, Harvard says, with guided creative reflection that will let us reconstruct any thought or feeling process that leads us to insecure attachment styles. Alone, we cannot do it. We need help. And Spiritism can help because we need to learn how to see relationships differently and feel secure. Like Jesus. He's our model of secure attachment, not to his mother, to God. One day, we'll learn to do the same, to feel so secure with God with nobody else. For now, we need to establish the security in our relationships. And we need psychotherapy. To have better relationships and to change the millennial record of messy relationships. With friends, with family, with ourselves, with God, with people at work. Like you go to work, you feel insecure? Shouldn't. Because God is everywhere, taking care of everyone. Everyone is a child of God. Feeling insecure about what? Oh, but that person is always talking bad about people. But that person is always, they don't give me attention. They this. You see, insecure attachment. We need to fix it. How are we going to progress if we keep seeing life from that angle? We need help. And when we change our encoding of relationships, then we change our attachment style. And this is a very spiritist take on it. Because Jesus came to share the good news. He said, look, this leper man is your brother. You need to help him. You think he has nothing to do with your life? But we need to help him. God put you in his pathway to help him, and in turn you'll be helped. He taught us to see relationships from a different angle. And we need to practice this. That's why we need Jesus. Because to empower ourselves, we need to unveil the greatest strategy that Jesus told the disciples that the forces of darkness used to destroy us, to create insecurity. It's a true account. It's in the book Jesus in the Home, which, by the way, we would recommend for everybody who wants to do the God at Home. It's a must to do the God at Home. If you want a secure house, not secure from problems, because problems will always happen, but from greater problems that we don't need, every week we gather together to pray for 15 minutes to maximum an hour. Doesn't need to be longer. If you have children, teens, watch videos with them. Say a prayer, watch a video on YouTube, talk a little bit about it. They want to do an activity, and with a prayer, drink the water. That's it. Now that we have The Chosen, we watch several clips of The Chosen with Virginia. She picks them. We watch. Talk a little bit about it. Say a prayer. That's it. But we need to do it. Same day, every week. Does it have to be the same day? Yes. The same time? Yes. Why? Because the good spirits are busy. They are not genie in a bottle. They are there sitting and, oh, please come help me. Oh, yeah. Oh, sure. Let me stop everything and help you. They're busy. But when they know we are in their schedule, they come and they bring spirits of higher evolution than theirs to help us in ways that are unimaginable. I've seen true miracles happening to people's lives because of their very disciplined, prayerful schedule. True miracles. So chapter 39 is a chapter in which the disciples are talking to Jesus in Peter's home, and Jesus tell a story that will illuminate us. He says that there was a servant who was very devoted in a village, small village, and a servant of God that was devoted to helping people. But every time the good happens, the lazy forces of darkness, they don't like it. Jesus' words. And they come to destroy. The evil spirits tried everything they could to stop that man from helping others. They didn't succeed. So they had an idea. Let's talk, the evil ones, to the greatest evil one. It's just figurative, right? It's a parable, okay? Let's assemble the minions, basically. And talk to the one who knows more than everybody else. Actually, in the book Action and Reaction by Andrea Lewis, we learn that their spirits were so troubled that all they do is gather together to find ways to create problems for people. It is true. So they talk. The assembly begins like this. The lesser evil, says Jesus, approached the greater one and said, can we strip this man of all his material possessions? Couldn't we do it and he would stop helping people? Look at the answer. No, that wouldn't work for such a good servant. The loss of material resources means freedom for him. Remember, for many of us it would work. But for that type of person, it wouldn't. Okay? Thus, he would find 1,001 ways to increase his help to humanity. So the lesser evil had another idea. Then let's punish his family by breaking it up, forcing his children to fill him with disgrace and ingratitude. Is that going to stop him? Don't you see that would enable him to easily become part of the universal family? He's dedicated to the universal family. Take his family away, he's going to continue helping people. Okay, another idea. Maybe it would work if we made him sick with sores and afflictions. It's so interesting when you read this story to children. They're learning this right now, but I remember reading to Virginia, and they keep thinking, like, what if we do this? What, right? You learned it with your children when they read it?
Yeah, and they comment too.
They comment, right?
Yeah.
It's so interesting, right? How they deal with it. It's a great book to read with kids, too. And the answer, well, he would find ways to trust in God even more. And he would take advantage of the opportunity to bring about the inner renewal of many people with his example of patience and serenity in pain. Like Chico Xavier. We look back at Chico Xavier. They took everything from his mom. Assets, nothing, had nothing. Gave him illnesses. We look back and say, wow, if Chico Xavier went through this, I can go through this too. See? then we're running out of ideas. What to do to make this man stop helping people. Let's encourage slander, suspicion, gratuitous hatred against him. Is that going to work with him? Then a lot of people would regard him as a martyr and a redeemer. He would make use of all the persecution in order to better himself and have a sign. It happened to Divaldo Franco. People created great slander against him. It was in the national news. And what did he do? Never stopped. They began the slander in the late 60s. And I remember in 2006, maybe 5, 6, 7, he was coming to Baltimore. Right the day after a program aired in Brazil in the national TV, that famous program, Fantástico, talking about the problem in the early 70s. Decades later, when he came, I said, how are you doing? He said, well, what can we do, right? People want to talk about, let them talk about. Where are the people who are talking bad about? Do you know their names? We don't know their names, but we know of the other one. The names of the gossipers, the slanderers, who are they? I don't know. But where's the Bible? We know. He never stopped. And it's an inspiration for us. Because people will talk bad. If they talked bad about Jesus, will they not talk bad about us? So what? So when parents, don't tell your children high school is hard. Middle school is hard. When I see parents saying that, I say, you're destroying this child's life. See, it's fun, it's exciting, but you're going to find all sorts of people. Deal with it. You want to be in a bubble? You have to learn to deal with the bad and the good. Everyone. To grow and to progress. You think God's going to shield you in a bubble? Go. Learn it. Stay strong. We're here to support you. God is supporting you. But don't forget that those people are your brothers and sisters too. Pray for them. Bring their names to the book of prayer. And one day Virginia wrote one of the names like 30 times. I said, it doesn't matter. If you feel like 30 times, write them down. Same person 30 times. As long as you say, God, please help this person who is so the start. But do not wash your hands. Do not run away. Well, the evil spirits were running out of ideas. Oh, and if we have any idea, remember, we're not far from this time when we were creating problems for people, right? Is this probably the first reincarnation we're learning to do the good? Maybe. Because maybe not long ago, we were just like these spirits trying to avenge, create problems. No wonder we have problems in our lives. Well, wouldn't it be best just to murder him without mercy? This is Jesus' story. It's so precious for us to have it recorded in a Spiritist book and brought to us to date. Death would be the sweetest of blessings for him. Death is not a punishment, especially for people who are doing the good. It's a blessing. So don't cry. Oh, my loved one is dead. They are not. They are freer than us. Rejoice because they are freer than us. So what to do then? What should we do? Is there a solution? How can we stop this man from doing the good in his life? Stop being a righteous person. What is there a strategy? Strategy. Sorry, this is Jesus' story, huh? He says, don't be so stupid. When Virginia read, were they shocked with the word stupid? I can't say those words, right? Virginia's like, Mom, Jesus said that. I said, in his other language, not in English, but something of the nature. Go and tell this person that he amounts to zero in creation, that he's no more than an unknown tiny grub worm. Give him to understand his own significance so that he'll never amount to anything. And you see. Meaning, destroy their self-esteem. Easy strategy. You can destroy anybody by telling them that they are nobody. Tell them non-stop. That's what the spirits did. They went to the devoted servant, and Jesus said that they were daily telling him, who are you to do the good? You're not perfect. Who are you to help others? You can barely help yourself. Blah, 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 till the day he got convinced. He stopped. Didn't want to leave his bed anymore. Got depressed. And died. They made him stop. These are the sentences that Jesus said. How can you dare believe that what you do is valuable? Don't you feel like you're a mere plaything of temptations? Aren't you ashamed of yourself? Repeating. But then I wondered if I could ask Jesus, how did he allow these spirits to enter his mind just like that? He must have had a plug. How was his childhood? Because if he were secure in his attachment, he wouldn't believe those things. See how important it is for us to treat ourselves? Because we have plugs within us. The spirits will be surrounding us always with ideas, and yet we need to connect higher. In the book Thought and Life, Emmanuel says, we think, we connect, we make associations. So if these associations are coming in, there is a plug in us. So we need to learn to heal our relationship with ourselves. And then we're going to heal the relationships with the world. We don't help others because we're better than others. We help others because God made us to do so. So if a spirit comes and say, who are you, Vanessa? A child of God, just like you. But who are you to think you can go and give this talk? Just like everybody else. We need this study, I'm just sharing. But you think you're perfect. No, that's why I'm in the center studying together with everybody else, because I'm not. Because I read this book 10,000 times, and I keep reading again and again because I need to remind myself of this. But we need to have a secure attachment inside of us in order to seal it. Or we're going to be playing games in our relationships of avoidance, of insecurities, of disorganization in our feelings. Harvard says in many studies that when we are not securely attached, we see our relationships differently already. So you see, it's lenses that we need to change. You go to work, the boss doesn't say hi. If I am secure, I'm like, oh, they must have had a bad night. But if I'm insecure, did I do something wrong? Maybe they don't like me anymore. You see? It's very common. Insecure attachment. Creating anxiety, avoidance. And then how many people do you know who indulge being isolated at home? They may work remotely or may not work. They're home. They don't want to see people. They do, but they're afraid of some people. It's obsession. Because in isolation, we cannot live well. Love society. So the brave collaborator stopped all of his activities after listening to the dangerous insinuations of evil. And Jesus teaches us that lower self-esteem, insecure attachment is the way we do not live well. So how do we empower ourselves? Jesus says, this man forgot that the leafy olive tree grows from a fragile sprout. What did Jesus mean by that? Always analogies. He's always bringing parables, symbolisms. He's saying, we are progressing. So if somebody says, well, how come you help people if you still don't know this? I'm learning to. Because you say, yeah, I still have so many problems. I shouldn't do this. If any of us thought this way, we wouldn't be sitting in this room. But we know, it's not a belief, we know that God created us to progress. Don't label yourself. Don't label your children. When I see parents labeling their children, this child is lazy, this child is the liar. Oh my gosh. So they forgot that God trusted them with this kid. And they're supposed to love. Do you love a kid when you say that? So that's a task, to learn to love these kids. Or we're going to fail in this reincarnation. We can have all the assets of the universe, secure your retirement, discarnate. The stamp is going to be paid. How do I know? Read the book 2,000 years ago. Emmanuel, the author, says in his own words, he was a greatly respected senator at the Roman Empire. And he said, I failed in that reincarnation. He was a good senator. Just, very honest, and yet he failed. And he was, like André Luiz, when he was Carlos Chagas in Brazil, to date respected. He went to the afterlife and he learned he failed. Oh, but didn't he help humanity? Yeah, but he failed. Read Now Solar. How did he fail? Relationships. So we need to progress. To learn this, you and I know. Thank God we have a very secure attachment with Jesus. He loves us. And I want to show you a clip of The Chosen so we can seal this certainty that Jesus is giving to you and I, that no matter how insecure, anxious, avoidant, disorganized we may be, there is hope. You remember the scene. We've showed this before, but Mentor Joseph wants us to show again. We want to be healed from this insecurity, right? You remember the man at the pool? When we watch it, pay attention. This man is in this disorganized mode, the worst state. He doesn't know why he's there any longer. He knows he's not going to be able to jump in the pool. He can't walk. Nobody's helping him, and yet he's there. But Jesus comes and says, do you want to be healed? Because if you do, I am here. He gives the remedy. Make no mistake, this is a true story. This is not fantasy. But Vanessa, this doesn't happen today because Jesus is not here. Really? Does he need to be here in physical body for us to be healed? Where he is, he can heal us anywhere at any time. Depends more on us than on him. We can heal from within. It's not only the body, but to heal us from our insecurities, from our lower self-esteem, to heal us from millennia of misdeeds that are putting us down when we're allowing the spirits to make us feel that we're never going to be any better. Let's say enough is enough. Stand up and walk, following Jesus. Let's watch this in that certainty, friends.
Shalom. Yes. Shut up. I have a question for you. For me. I don't have many answers, but I'm listening. Do you want to be healed? Who are you? We'll get to that later. But my question remains. Are you going to go what? No, I'm not really a bad day. You've been having a bad day for a long time. So I have no one to help me into the water when it's filled up. And when I do get close, the others step down in front of me. So, look at me. That's not what I asked. I'm not asking you about who's helping you, or who's not helping, or who's getting in your way. I'm asking about you. For a long time, I know. You don't want false hope again, I understand. But this poor, it has nothing for you. It means nothing. And you know it. But you're still here. Why? You don't need this poor. You only need me. So, do you want to be healed? So let's go. Get up, pick up your mat, and walk. I'm afraid to walk, like he said. Don't forget your bed. Why does this matter? Because you're not coming back here. That life is over. It changes now.
So let us meditate on the kindness of the Master of all Masters and prepare ourselves for the process, friends. We're gonna keep the lights off, okay? Right back. Friends, while the children and the teens are still finishing their work, we don't want to interrupt. The teachers are there, so let us do the spiritual process. Feeling the presence of Jesus inside of us, as if we are in front of Him. Let us visualize His loving presence in front of us. Feel that the light of His heart is touching ours, protecting and strengthening our hearts. Visualizing His light enveloping us in strength, in deep healing. Let us breathe in and out, accepting His treatment. He is pouring energy medicine onto us. We visualize the Master Jesus, the doctor of all souls, harmonizing our chakras, our energy centers, the vital centers, balancing us, mind and body. We breathe in and out the certainty that life is deeply wonderful. Breathing in and out. We rejoice. Visualizing our homes, our cars, enveloped by His light of protection. Our workplaces, our children's schools, visited by His messengers. The spirit doctors who are here present, they are offering us flowers of healing. Let us breathe in the perfume of those flowers. balancing minds and bodies. We visualize our dear planet receiving our gratitude as we tell ourselves we are secure with you, Master Jesus. Nothing lacks. Thank you, dear Lord of life, for sending Jesus to us, our dear governor of the planet, the doctor of our souls, the best friend we could ever have, who leads us into healing, the healing of ourselves, the healing of our relationships. And as we praise you for the greatness of life, we subject ourselves to your designs, daily asking you, oh Lord, what do you want us to do? May we follow your guidance, fulfilling your will, perfect and good, today and forever. And so be it. Play again. One more time.
Shalom. Yes. Shalom. I have a question for you. Good enough. I don't care many answers, but I'm listening. Do you want to be healed? Good. We'll get to that later. But my question remains. Don't you want it? Look, I hear you in that day. You've been having a bad day for a long time. So, search. I have no one to come to me to the water until it's still dark. And when you do get close, the others step down in front of me. So, look at me. Look at me. That's not what I asked. I'm not asking you about who's helping you or who's not helping or who's getting in your way. I'm asking about you. I've tried for a long time, I know. You don't want false hope again, I understand. But this poor, it has nothing for you. It means nothing. And you know it. But you're still here. Why? You don't need this poor. You only need me. So, do you want to be healed? So let's go. Get up, pick up your mat, and walk. I'm afraid to walk, like he said. Don't forget your bed. Why does this happen? Because you're not coming back here. And life is over. Everything changes now.
Friends, we are now preparing for the fundraiser. So we're going to start, you'll see us moving in and out, but we're going to go outside. All right? You just give us 5 to 10 minutes. Then we'll be out there. We will bring chairs and things. All right? Yay!